All right, guys, we are here for episode 18. We have very special guest, Joe McCullough. He is an absolute animal in this area. He's had some great personal experiences with powerlifting. 35 years of strength and conditioning he's got under his belt. I don't think he's wearing a belt right now, but if you have one on, 35 years. 2023 New Jersey High School Strength Coach of the Year.
Yep.
Yay! Powerlifting Hall of Fame, competing in 30 nationals?
This is my 30th this year.
God bless. God bless.
I know.
And you could tell just looking at him, he practices what he preaches. So we are very happy to have special guest Joe McCullough. Thank you for joining us today, my man.
Happy to be here, brothers.
Awesome.
Yep. Happy to share.
So we noticed that you got this Marine Cup here a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and your kids, and we'll get started on that note.
All right. Proud to say my son Aiden is a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. Hoorah.
Nice.
And he just qualified for MARSOC, which is Special Operations Command. It's a Special Forces training school. So basically, they take 3 classes a year of 100 guys and put them through quite a rigorous training. It's about 8 weeks of, a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And he is a combat engineer by day. He runs a machine shop. He's an electrician. But in the afternoons and evenings, I'm so proud of him. The last few years, he has gotten now his A+ grades on life-saving, marksmanship, self-defense. He's got the highest level of belt. And he's also very, very handy. Nice. So he's taken all of that, and he wants to go to Special Forces. He told me, Dad, I didn't join the Marines for on-the-job training. I got to go get me some bad guys.
Well, you know what? There's plenty of them out there these days.
So he has obtained a level of fitness because he was a wrestler and a football player. And he swears that wrestling has helped him through boot camp. It helped him, lead his way and be the commander of his platoon in boot camp. But the mental toughness and the self-discipline. And he just got the Naval Commendation for bravery, saved a woman's life in a storm off of Hilton Head. He dove into storm waters to pull this lady out. They saw her boat capsized, and he dove right in and acted on instinct and pulled her out and did CPR and saved this grandmother.
God bless.
So we're very proud of him, and knock wood, in 8 weeks we have good news. But Special Forces is truly special.
Oh,
and
I'm sure.
To be selected for that would be an incredible honor for him. But that's his passion, it's his juice, and he's going for it.
Yeah,
good for him.
And my little guy, I told Pete, my little guy's a Renaissance man. He is. As a sophomore in high school, he's into wrestling, powerlifting, martial arts. He's a musician, and he's the color guard commander at Wall High School.
That's awesome.
He's in the ROTC. He's big. ROTC most likely will be his path.
That's awesome. He's going to fit right in.
Right. It's totally his thing. So we're loving the program.
Now, how did he get into that? Was that just like...
The ROTC?
Yeah, like what prompted that?
Well, having the brother who's
That's what I was curious about,
who's a stud Marine, and, he saw Top Gun, and he always has loved the idea. He either wants to fly jets or command submarines. The Naval Academy would be something he would be interested in, but being a warrior or a soldier or whatever you want to call all the different branches, I don't know, airmen, whatever they are. The reality is that his trajectory seems to be headed in that direction.
Right.
Plus,
That's
he's
cool.
an honor student. He's, an
amazing.
A+ student. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
Sounds like you've raised some pretty good kids.
we're doing okay.
You're
It
winning.
hasn't
then.
been easy.
I was gonna say,
whoa.
Billy and I are in the fight now with the young bucks. That we think we're doing well, and everyone tells us we're doing well, but we don't know how it's going to play out quite yet. So we're kind of in. Billy's got 3 little ones. He's got a boy and 2 girls. I have 2 boys and a little girl. But they're young, so we're in it right now, dude. Like, we're lacking sleep. You might get into some tiffs with your wife here and there because everyone's on edge and the kids are freaking out.
I'm going to give you some great advice from a guy who's been through that. Enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what we've
because
heard.
they
so
they
hard.
idolize you. They love you. They do everything.
Yep.
Now, and when they turn teenagers, all of a sudden, I'm an emeritus strength coach with all of this acumen, and all of a sudden, I don't know about
Yeah, you don't know nothing.
I don't know nothing.
You know what I've noticed about the parent-coach dynamic is the fact that dad could say one thing
Yep.
and it goes in one ear and out the other. Coach happens to reassure the same exact thing and the light bulb goes off.
Village.
Yep.
Surround yourself with good people
100%.
and coaches that indirectly, I have parents saying, well, they won't ever eat breakfast and they won't drink their water, and say, well, you know what? Always premise it and say, Coach Joe says, Coach Joe says.
Yep.
So more and more, outside of just teaching people weightlifting, I'm more of a mentor when it comes to the food and the sleep and trying to limit the phone and trying to understand the role of electronics in their health.
Yeah.
Because these kids are up against it. We don't know the long-term side effects of
No,
this
we don't.
generation.
Well, you could tell,
You know what I mean?
and I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all
You
right.
could tell a little bit, like at least for me, looking at my 6-year-old, a little bit of ADD, but like self-imposed ADD there, because you take the phone and it's just, I don't like this, swipe. I don't like
Everything's
this,
so
swipe.
quick.
It's
So too
instant.
much
It's
instant
instant.
gratification.
We had to watch, if I didn't like what was on TV, we've discussed it. You had to watch the show, watch through the commercials, and then wait for another episode to come on or something else.
Or go climb a tree.
Yeah, you had to
Well,
do
those-
something. And now you don't have that.
There's something to be said. There's something to be said about the generation that you grew up in. You know, even like we grew up in the 80s. I was born in 86, 90s. Like it's just a different world back then. We can get on our bikes, and then there were dinner bells. And you kind of, once it got dark, you came home for dinner and you're out running around. But now we got these little kids. They're still human beings. They still have that same energy, and we're trying to keep them inside, quiet, on the tablets. So like we'll do like workout videos with the kids. Like even the babies last night, we had it on YouTube, and we kind of like watched these videos, and they're kind of just getting the energy out. And I noticed yesterday was a snow day. My son is 8. He's going to be 9 in March. He was just fed up and bored with his 2 siblings. He sat around all day. He's like, this is the most boring snow day ever. I took him to the barn, did a little practice, and when I was talking to him at night, I could tell, because we're going to talk about Seidenberg in a little bit. We learned a lot from Dave.
Dave was
I
great.
trained Dave too.
He told us this morning.
I don't think there's a lot of stud athletes around that you haven't trained.
Yeah, Frank Molinaro is my
I'm
favorite
blessed.
story. though.
Oh, absolutely. Frank the Tank. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk
But now
about
the
him.
role that you say you've taken in kids' lives or are trying to take as Coach Joe, that's what I get out of Coach Pete for
Very
all my
similar.
kids.
Yes.
So like Max has been around Pete for a few years. My daughter, by just association, has been around them. He's Coach Pete to everybody.
Yep.
So I say to my son, I'm going to tell Coach Pete, or this Coach Pete. They listen. They get
they
it.
do.
So like Sunday, we had the wall takedown cancer tournament.
He was
Yeah,
there.
I was
I
there.
saw your son.
Max, we're there early. He's 6. This is his second wrestling tournament. First match, he goes out and he's like, kind of like a little out of it. His headgear's bothering him because it's a little small, and that's on me. But I said, just go out there. Coach Pete taught you well. And it kind of like, once I said Coach Pete, and he had that reassurance that like Coach Pete equipped him, not just dads here. Coach Pete set you up for
Right.
success. He got out there and he won his first match, and then he won he actually battled and won in overtime, which I was really
That's
proud of.
great. Did he have
That's-
fun?
All that matters.
Well, he got hurt in the second period, so he wrestled. The kid kind of like wrenched his arm a little bit, and he was crying through the second, third, and overtime. But he didn't give up.
There you
Which,
go.
win, lose, or draw, I didn't care at that point.
Right.
You were crying a little bit, and you battled through it. You could have came off the mat if you wanted to. I wouldn't have been mad if you got hurt. But you fought. And you
you go.
fought because Coach Pete equipped you with a skill set. Maybe he didn't want to disappoint Coach Pete. But either way, those tools, he impacted him. And
he ain't
gave it.
disappointing me, dude.
No,
He ain't
and you
disappointing
gave
me.
him that wherewithal to do that.
Yeah.
He didn't get that from me. I can't teach him
Sport
that.
will transcend their lives.
Yes.
Why? No matter how many wins my son ever has in the short conference, whether he makes it to states like his brother, it's going to make him a tougher, more disciplined individual, because life is going to break your arm. Life is going to beat you
100%.
up. Life
That's
is
what I've
going to
been
injure
saying.
you and give you
Yep.
a knock in the ribs.
Life is way more
Yeah.
badass than any state champ or any national champ that you're ever going to square away with.
Wrestling's
And
a great activity for them.
it's just hard. I'm having all these conversations with all these parents and all these kids, and it still seems to be this facade that it's results based. And I'm like, guys, no one cares. No one cares. These kids look at me like I was an Olympic champion, and I wasn't even anywhere remotely close to that. I was a blue collar wrestler that was under the bleachers crying and had to find my way back on the mat in the wrestlebacks.
But it made you
and
who you are
that's
today.
life, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
No
was going to
quit,
ask you
just
though,
drive.
Joe. Because when you were talking about when you were at RBC, when Billy was around, that you were pretty much full of piss and vinegar and
Yes.
pretty intense.
Yes.
That reminded me when I was 22, I got into coaching right away. And I had that same piss and vinegar vibe, and I was kind of, flipping out, losing it on everybody, and just going super intense. And I've had to learn now, about 17 years later, I keep modifying things as I go. Did you have a point in time that you said, hey, I got to take my foot off the gas, this kid's 15? Or did a light bulb go off? Or have you just been plugging and playing as you go?
You know what helped a lot was working for the likes of Frank Edgerly and Jim Portella. Two fantastic Hall of Fame coaches from Red Bank Catholic. I won state titles with both of them. And one of the things that Frank early on, because I worked with Frank, and then he left for the NFL to work with Belichick, and then I worked with Jim, and then Frank came back, is, Mac, how do we keep them on the field? We got to keep them healthy. So, 20 years ago, I was starting to get into understanding the value of the recovery methods, like a good night's sleep, like hydrating your body, like nourishing your body, training them enough without overtraining or undertraining them, and finding that balance where it's unheard of to this day that we had 2 state championship clubs in 2014, 2018 had the same lineups the first week as the state championship. So we went the whole season with the same starting lineups. A few sprained ankles here or there. So the health became wealth. And then some of my own personal health situations brought about me really having to sit back. My ego destroyed my hip with powerlifting, and I needed a hip replacement. And, pain is an amazing teacher. Truth. And it gives you humility. And I always prided myself, and one of the reasons why I still compete this day, it's not really for me. 4 nights a week, I eat dinner with the kids at the gym. Okay, and I break out my food, and we talk about food. Why? I'm sitting there, I'm eating my steak and broccoli one night. I don't have a potato with me, and they're like, hey, coach, where's your carbs? I'm like, you know what? I'm already at the top of my weight class. I got to be careful with the carbs and da-da-da. If I was cutting weight, I'd do this. If I'm trying to gain weight, I'd do that. And it always sparks conversation. So I always like to practice what I preach to show the kids how to do it right. Yes, I am dedicated to my craft. Yes, I am in bed at the right time. Do I do my stretching, which is boring? Yes, I do. Do I have a plan in place? Absolutely. Am I patient in my plan? All of these things that I can not just tell them how to do it, but show them how to do it. And some of my habits and consistencies will rub off on them. So over the years, I'm IPF world champ over and over again. It really is, for me, about leading the way. And this year, though, I have to selfishly say, I'm 59. This will be my 59th year. In the Masters, 50 to 59, I'm the oldest guy in the class, so I want to kick some ass.
Let's go.
You look like you're ready to.
Yeah, I am ready. I'm really primed. I'm really
I got to
primed.
be honest. You don't look a day older than when I met you. Now, when I met you, though, you were like this. You were. You looked like a walking muscle.
I was up to 220. I got up to.
He was huge.
I was 218 pounds. I'm 180 right now.
Nice.
So I have reduced my insulin resistance, and I have kids. I can't afford the high blood pressure. My blood work started to change because of my family history. My genetics, I have the 4 horsemen. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, all in my family.
I got those as well.
So the middle of my 50s, I started going, so the last couple of years, I've really been good about getting rid of processed foods.
Good.
Eating the right amount of protein, carbohydrates, fats, and limiting my alcohol, because I'm a partying Irishman. I like to have a good time. I like to go out with the boys and do my thing.
Been down that road.
But not to the point where it's ever gotten me a DUI. It's never got me thrown in jail, or I haven't done anything like that. But it would mess up my training.
I'm sure.
And it would make me grow. So I had to cut that off.
Good.
And now heading into my 60s, I want to be able to, if I win the Worlds this year, if I win the Nationals, I can compete in America in Austin in May. So that means my family can come. You know, I couldn't afford to take him to Kazakhstan or wherever the world's
Right, I'm sure.
sometimes are. But this is something that hopefully, you know, all goes well, that I can make the world team for 2024. So we'll
Just
see.
having their support is going to put a little bit. You could put more weight on the bench that day, knowing that they're there for you. That's how
A little
I
extra
feel.
fire for you.
That's how I feel about like the 5Ks and 5-mile races and
Yes.
stuff, man. I'll be practicing. You know, I kind of clock my times every now and again. But on race day, like if my family's there and I see them around a tournament, that's all I need, dude. I'm out. I'm sprinting after I see
Well,
that.
that's what Mikey said too. When he saw his
he mentioned
family,
the
he
same
was
thing.
ready to like give up or slow down.
Yeah.
And it just gave him that extra.
Your family gives you juice, but it also every day will help you make decisions that affect your long-term health.
Yeah.
Long-term health and quality of life. Don't you, I want to be teaching my grandkids how to lift. And I can still sprint and jump and run and throw like a little guy.
Yep.
So I want to be able to be that guy 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And if I was still like this,
Yeah.
you know, most likely I would not be.
Yeah, no
or I would
kidding.
have a stroke like my dad or a heart attack like my mom. You know, it is something that stares you in the face once you hit 50.
Yeah.
And that, in turn, by me taking care of my own health, and then COVID happens, and you start to really, really see kids who really, really need more health coaching than strength coaching,
Right.
if you know what I mean. And some of these kids, it's all about just giving them life skills and giving them self-care skills so they understand, hey, you don't just have to weight train to be a high school state champion wrestler, but this is something that you'll do for the rest of your life, because being strong will help you get through life, and it will also help you have successful annual physicals. That perspective, again, is taken time for me. And now I would say better than ever. And I'm coaching younger and younger athletes, even though I still have my savage high school kids, you know, I'm trained in Tanner, and the studs that I'll see in Atlantic City this year. The little guys, those are the ones that, goodness gracious, if you can get them just with those habits and principles. Well, I can't get to Coach Joe today, so I'm going to do my push-ups and my pull-ups and my pistol squats at home.
Get him regimented.
Regimented to the lifestyle. We need 100 to 125 strength training sessions a year. I'm telling you that. 100 to, and it doesn't have to be at a gym. It can be at home. But if you, as a healthy person, me as a power lifter, competitive, a little different. You know, I'm in a different realm than just general health and fitness. But I can promise you, if you average, or your kids average twice a week, year round, then you're looking at a global health person, because when it comes to twice a week of, say, you lift twice a week, do strength training, and then you have the other days where you're doing your cardio training, and then meditation and yoga is also part of the exercise. A lot of people don't see the connection between those things. Meditation and deep breathing is part of my daily exercises that I do for health. It's not just that I go to the gym. I was outside this morning grounding, standing on the snow in my shorts. My neighbors think I'm cuckoo. I drink my coffee while I'm sitting there freezing my feet to get them frozen enough to get my thermogenesis going for the day. It takes like 2 minutes. And all of a sudden you're like,
You got to tell us more about grounding. Pete's talked about grounding for like 5 episodes in a row. It's come up randomly. And I got to know more about it, especially in the winter, because Pete's afraid to do it in the winter a little bit.
Can you also, aside from the grounding, can you also add in the sunlight? Because I've seen some of your videos about that too.
Grounding and sunlight, deep breathing, meditation, gratitude are a part of my morning routine, regardless of weather. Even if it's raining outside, I'm going to go stand on the ground. We human beings were put on this earth without shoes. So right away, we didn't have rubber soles on our feet. Right away, we didn't have houses with floors. We lived in caves and we ran around in the dirt. That's where we were designed. We were designed because the centrifugal forces of the earth, the rotation of the earth, I mean, you can look up the biochemistry of it. But people that ground for 10 minutes, they do MRI studies or blood work studies, and they look at red blood cells. And believe it or not, your circulation after 5 to 10 minutes of grounding dramatically improves if you've had your feet on Mother Earth. It's all about, for me, when I teach power and explosiveness. I teach from the ground up. Mother Earth is your friend. You get on the bench press and you're just thinking about your arms, you're making a mistake. You're not using your leg drive. Where's that come from? Mother Earth, your contact with Mother Earth. So when you can get on there without shoes, absolutely, positively, a few minutes a day is an investment in health, okay? The early morning sunlight, Pete, I had the best tan of my life this year. No sunblock at all. I got all of my sun before 10 a.m. or after 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Shirt off, and I'm Irish, Irish Italian, but eventually, you wouldn't believe it, I actually had a tan, and I was like, I haven't put sunblock on all summer. So if I went and I did my, I do pool work in the summer for cardio, I would just put a shirt on and a hat so I didn't burn.
Right.
Or I would put a little sunblock on my little, my elf ears here. But the sunlight, what does it do? It sets your circadian rhythm. It also enhances your hormone regulation. Hormones are pretty important, right? Our testosterone regulation, our serotonin regulation, all of these great hormones that the body needs to not just live, but not survive.
Right.
To thrive.
Yep.
I don't want to just survive.
Yep.
I want to have the energy of a 25-year-old. I want to kick ass.
Yeah.
So these are things when you look at our ancestors, you had to be an ass kicker. You had to get up. You had to be starving. You had to do it without breakfast. That's why a couple of days a week, I do fasted lifting. It sucks.
Yeah, I bet.
It is not easy. But then I go to myself, you know what? My ancestors didn't have it, so I'm going to do it. Why? Because it is hard.
Yeah.
Embrace hard, but don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
That's the thing
That's the
that I've
balancing
learned how
act.
to do.
So you lift
Embrace hard, but
Yeah.
don't hurt yourself.
Make it sustainable.
Yeah.
When I'm training for a meet like I am now, certainly I don't fast when I do my powerlifting day, but I can promise you as time goes on, there's only 3 methodologies that you need in a gym. And they're named after 3 of my favorite fitness people. Number 1 is Jack LaLanne. That's your calisthenic Metcom. That's your body weight stuff. You can get cardio in doing that too. So I have my Jack LaLanne, and that's what got me started. 5 years old, I was doing the Jack LaLanne show,
That's
screaming at
awesome.
my mom, trying to do jumping jacks in the kitchen. She's smoking a cigarette, like, what are you doing, kid? Where's Mighty Mouse? On the TV. I found him myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Arnold Schwarzenegger. I do the
course.
Arnold, the bodybuilding, the hypertrophy training, the 8 to 12 rep zone where you're using a decent weight and you're getting your pump. And then there's the Joe zone, I'll just call it, named after yours truly. Powerlifting, 5x5s. You don't never need to go below 5, but I'm telling you, the 5x5s support your hormones. They'll support your testosterone more than the Jack LaLanne. The Jack LaLanne will give you a little more growth hormone, whereas the Arnold is kind of right in the middle. And we've done lots of research. See, I don't want to get too scientific because
we love it.
sometimes I get a little bit overboard because I do have
go overboard.
No,
I
we
got
love
a
it.
graduate
This is
degree
right
in
in our
XP.
wheelhouse.
You're kind of talking me out of going on TRT.
Yeah,
so.
please.
Oh my
Yeah.
brother! Then you got to be on it for the rest of your life.
That's what I'm
but
afraid
we
of.
You don't need
But we've
it.
talked to so many people that say the benefits, and I've done
They
a
have
bunch of
his
research.
experience and
No,
education.
that's why I'm telling him he's
All right.
talking me out of TRT.
And what
Good.
am I? I'm 58 going on 59. My testosterone, when I had a insulin resistant midsection, I was never fat, quote unquote, but my testosterone was low. You get your body fat down 15% or less, your test is going to go up.
Yeah.
You start cycling in those 5x5 safe training. You don't have to barbell back squat. Use the safety squat. You don't have to barbell bench. Use the cambered. The benches with the handles like this.
I know.
Easy on your shoulders. You call it a football bar. I use those most of the year. I only train a few months with the straight bar anymore because
Good.
it's hard on your body.
I'm sure.
And then the trap bar for deadlifts. Squats, bench, deadlifts, pull-ups add hormones. You want your program to add hormones, and then protein is misunderstood. You need to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. For me, my ideal body weight, the weight that I want to be, 180 pounds, the last couple of years, I've been eating 180 grams of protein a day, and I adjust my carbs and fat as per need. If I'm going to lift heavy, then I know I need a little more carbs on that day. If I'm going to do a cardio heavy day, I'm going to go a little higher on the fat and lower on the carbs, a little bit of ketogenic. But always the protein's got to stay. Then the sleep. You got to have good sleep hygiene. You got to get 8+. Every night, 8+. It's hard with kids.
Especially when you're training. Especially when you're training hard as a young athlete, not to cut off, that's where you're struggling with the sleep.
Do you take creatine?
Where I struggle. No, I don't.
You should take creatine. Creatine is a magic. You know, you do creatine and lift the right way and get enough protein, you won't need TRT, bro. I'm telling you, you won't need it. The people selling it are making money off of it. Then once you get on it, trust me, I've had a lot of guys. I'm an original member of the American Drug-Free Powerlifting Association. Wow. I've been tested probably 50 times in my life. I didn't want to go that route, and I saw that route as cheating. So for me, I always competed in drug-tested events, where it took us about 20 years, but all of our drug-tested lifts started to catch up to the dudes on the juice.
Wow.
People that have clinical problems, like some cancer, like a hypothyroid, like you're coming off of chemo, something like that. If you have a physical ailment that you need TRT in the temporary, I understand that. But just general feeling of maybe a little bit of lethargy and my workouts are kind of sucking, if you're not investigating all the nutritional areas and you're not investigating your sleep and being realistic about your sleep and then your body fat. Do the waist measurement. Try to get your waist half your height. Because if your waist is bigger than half your height, then most likely you have insulin resistance. If you're insulin resistant, your test drops.
So my biggest thing, why I was looking at it, they say it improves your sleep quality. I struggle with sleep. I go to bed 9:30, sometimes 10, but I get like 3 hours of sleep. It's absolutely terrible.
He's got a watch that he monitors it with. So do you have any natural remedies for him?
Absolutely.
I started taking the reishi.
Right.
Initially, I have a Garmin S70. I don't have it on now because it's charging.
Yep.
It monitors your sleep. And out of 100, my normal sleep score when I first started was in the 30s. I started taking reishi. Dave Seidenberg put us onto it. And that got me up into the 50s. But it's still shit sleep. I mean, when you think about it.
How's your mattress? How's your pillows?
Pretty good. I mean, pillows, I'm weird.
Is your room really dark?
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
All the lights, I'm talking all of them, every little teeny weeny light.
I mean, the little bit comes through the blinds, but that's it.
You better make sure, try mask. The mask really helped me.
Have you seen the...
And the sounds. I have ocean sounds next to my bed, and I have the air cleaner next to my wife's head. So we have multiple sounds. Fan, do you have a fan blowing on you? You know, temperature, you want your room between 67 and 69 degrees.
I'm a big cold guy. I set my thermostat at 66 year-round.
When do you...
My last meal of the day usually is... Well, I'll qualify that. If we have wrestling, which is Monday and Thursday, I usually eat after. I get home at 7, so that'll be like 7:15, 7:30.
Right.
Other than that, I get home... I start cooking 5:15, 5:30. Me and my kids cook every night that we're home together.
Wonderful.
That's like my way of unwinding.
Yeah.
And usually we'll eat 6:15, and then I'll have like a little bit of peanut butter and jelly with some Ritz crackers. I'll have like 5 with a little bit of peanut butter and jelly.
That's messing your sleep up, bro.
Yeah, that's what's been happening to me. That's what Seidenberg
That's
told
messing
us.
up your sleep.
3, 2, 1.
Go empty. Sleep
Yeah.
skinny, I call it.
Well, so here's the thing.
Empty.
I'm like improving myself. So like previously, I ate like shit. Now I'm eating pretty good, and I've phased out like eating at 8:30, having like a full-on snack. So like I still have a little craving for something, so I'll grab 5 Ritz crackers around 7:30, like a teaspoon of peanut butter.
A Ritz cracker?
Yeah.
I can promise you a Ritz cracker is poison.
Yeah.
100%.
So what
It's
kind of
processed.
crackers should I have?
Look at, there are so many healthy crackers out there that just have all natural ingredients. You want to stay away from colorings, dyes, preservatives, and flavoring. You have to stay away.
Everything at ShopRite, well, I'm not going to say everything. I would say sheer percentage-wise, 93% of things at ShopRite in these food stores that we go to are cancer.
100%
Are,
right.
you know, the processed, this dye that they're putting
That's
in there.
messing with your hormones too.
I
Hormone
agree with that.
disruptors.
So one of our guests previously, Robbie Leaks, is a really good friend of mine. He owns a local fitness facility.
Right. He's very good, I hear.
He's great.
Yep.
Robbie has kind of given me a lot of guidance on nutrition. So, like I said, I ate like shit for a long time and neglected myself. So
We
he
all
starts.
did. The standard American diet sucks.
Yeah,
We were
it really
fooled
does.
by the big food companies.
Pizza,
But he starts
breakfast is the
breaking
most
down.
important meal of the day.
Yeah, and one day this is bad. The next, don't
I
eat
know.
eggs. Eat eggs. Don't eat.
Have you seen the new
whatever it
food
is.
pyramid and everything? What it looks like?
crazy.
I think
So
they put like
It's sponsored by
fruity
Big
pebbles
Food,
over like
Big
ground
Pharma.
beef.
But
We know Big Tobacco owns Big Food.
Yeah. So everything.
Repeat customers.
When
Yeah.
you look at it, it's all
Addiction.
business, right? So I asked Robbie. I said, just tell me what to eat. Don't tell me proteins. Don't tell me this.
Right.
And he gave me a list. I go to the food store first of all to buy a quarter of what I would normally buy was 3 times as much.
Yes.
But you
It's
sit
okay.
there
Yes.
and you're going item by item because I
Quality.
got really caught up on the ingredients and looking for
Yeah.
the stuff that he told me to stay away from. As you're looking, you realize how much stuff that they bill as being clean and organic or whatever has fillers and this and that.
Seed oils. Oh,
Like
yeah.
Chick-fil-A, I saw a thing.
Oh.
Chick-fil-A, they say the chicken, like a grilled chicken sandwich, there is natural chicken. There's like 45 products in the chicken, not in the sandwich.
Don't
in the
trust other
chicken.
people to make your food. You
Yeah.
really want to live your best life. I've become a cook. I never thought I'd see the day where I'm actually starting to become. I'm not a chef, but I cook for myself every day, and I always cook the,
Well, you know
the
what's in it
protein
then,
for
yeah.
myself. Then you know what's in it. You know, like I have gotten into ghee as opposed to butter. Ghee is amazing. It
Yeah.
tastes good. It doesn't has a higher boiling point, so you're not going to get rancidity, rancid food. You want to make sure that the oils that you're getting in, the fats that you're getting in, are not from seed oils. And if you remember this acronym, the more experience I have, the more I see that it is principles are more important than methods. For example, if I gave you a diet, a rigid diet to eat X, Y, Z, and they're all good, as opposed to say, okay, cut the crap. Cut the carbonated beverages, the refined sugars, the artificial sweeteners and artificial colors, and processed foods. Cut the crap. Then the world opens up to you. Being too rigid will not allow you the flexibility to find things like my wheelhouse is egg whites, avocado, sourdough bread. Then I will do a steak or a chicken with a vegetable. In between, I'll have some dark chocolate. I love my pomegranates and blueberries. And then I will do fish. I alternate with my steak. There it is. My principles, protein, carbs, fats, my macros, I cycle them a little bit because, again, a master power lifter has to be like on point and perfect. Right. You're a dad. You want to have energy to be with your kids. You want to have energy, and your sleep is going to be directly reflective of the foods and then the exercise. When do you exercise?
Yeah. So right now I'm doing 3 days a week. I go, and I go at the middle of the day. I go 1 o'clock.
Perfect. Yeah, nighttime exercise is tough. It can fire
nighttime
you up.
exercise is tough for me. And
Yeah,
you were just
because of
about to
wrestling.
say that. Yeah, well, between wrestling, I was even running into that with any type of late night exercise that I would do.
Yeah.
It's so funny you said that. It was actually doing more harm than good. I was telling Billy a while back when I ended up in the hospital with the seizures and different things. They said I was burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
And what I was realizing, I was doing about 7 miles a night, or I'd do push-ups or dumbbells, whatever it may be, at night. But the kids were all sleeping. It was like the one window of time that I finally saw for myself. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be great. But what happens is I would get home and I would be supercharged, bro. Fired up. Yes. The last thing my body wanted to do was go to sleep. Like that was in that same element that I'm sweating, I'm feeling great. So I wouldn't be able to go to bed until about 3 hours after my workout, it would feel like. Now it puts me at 11:30. Kids are still waking up early as it is. And now I'm right back to that same thing. And that's where it's kind of like that balancing act between doing more harm than good, setting yourself up on a sustainable way that you could still go hard, but make sure you can still go hard tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's like, I don't understand the guys that say they cold plunge at night. I feel like if I cold plunged at night, first of all, I don't like it anyway, but I understand the benefits. Well, I'm trying to get used to it. I feel like no one likes the cold plunge the first few times they do it. So I'm trying, but like Dave Seidenberg or Pete, like
Dave does it in the morning. Casey says he does it at night. But Casey is a union laborer. He starts his shift. He probably wakes up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
He works his tail off all day. He could probably do coke before bed and still
go to
fall asleep.
bed,
The guy's
yeah.
probably exhausted.
Well, so he says he does the cold plunge at night and then takes a warm shower. Because I saw him yesterday and we had this conversation. And I said, bro, I said, it doesn't make sense to me. You get in the cold water, it's going to wake you up no matter what. And he goes, well, I balance it out with the warm shower and it puts you right to bed.
It works for him.
Yeah,
It
if
works
it works
for
for you.
him.
Works for him. That's all that matters.
And everybody's different, but the point I'm trying to make is you go running or whatever you're doing, it's going to wake you up. Your body's now up at its most alert that it could be.
Right.
What are you going to do? You can't just go home and shut it off.
No, I
you know. So
Everyone has to find their wheelhouse when it comes to the timing.
For sure.
But again, the principles: don't eat 2 hours before bed. Try to get 8 hours of sleep. Try to make sure you're drinking half your body weight in fluid ounces of water a day. I like Celtic salt with my water in the
I've heard
morning.
great things about that.
For minerals. And I will try best I can to get up in 20 minutes early before I have to leave the house and go run around the block once to have a little bit of fasted cardio. You want to rip body fat off? Fasted cardio in the morning is a great way to do it outside of any of your strength training.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a great habit that I have adopted. And having the less body fat now, I'm eating like, I feel like I'm eating like a king and I don't have to cut weight.
Yeah.
I had to cut weight from 88 to 81 last year in the last week. It wasn't good. And I only benched 360. I still won, but I felt like crap.
Not for you,
This
though.
year, I am surging my
Good.
way. I want to bench 400.
Let's go.
Well,
Let's
we'll see.
go.
I'm going to be close. But I'll do everything I can to win.
There you go.
But the point is that over time, through trial and error and understanding the principles of training and health, that and the early morning sunlight, it all plays into this thing called life.
Yep.
And when you have little kids at home, your life isn't quite yours yet.
Nope, not yet.
It really
kids
isn't.
complicate
That's what we're
things.
feeling.
They
Yeah.
do. So you do the best you can to work around that. And the one thing I wouldn't sacrifice is the sleep.
Yeah.
Fix the sleep. The hormones will follow.
Yep.
Fix the sleep. I like ashwagandha and ZMA.
Isn't that what
I
Johnny
take
Ryan told
ZMA
us
before
about?
bed.
It is
Don't
what
they
Johnny
sell that at
Ryan
gas
told us about.
stations?
What?
The ashwagandha?
It's an herb. It's a flower.
But
it's
now,
a root.
It
Yeah.
was billed to us as like a libido enhancer, not a sleep aid.
That's what they were selling
I'm
at the
a-
gas station.
Unless he's so off
He
base.
might have got sold by the wrong guy. You don't
That's
know what the hell.
funny.
I-
I've been using ashwagandha for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were-
Always at night,
Yeah,
right?
we were-
Half hour before bed
Maybe it's a
with my
different
ZMA.
ashwagandha.
Maybe.
Zinc and magnesium have a big
Yeah.
role in the production of testosterone.
Yeah.
Yeah, zinc is
Man,
a
Joe,
big
I'm
one.
feeling like I feel like you got to put something together for us, man. You know, whether it's a full on diet or you know just everything in almost like a pamphlet that we could just turn to and be like, oh
I'm
yeah, go to
glad
page
to.
3.
I'm
Go to
glad
page
to.
3
Well,
of Joe's book.
Here's the
and that'll
thing:
tell us.
is I have more mileage on my tread than you guys do, and the reality is that the lessons that I've learned, I try to tell my clients, my younger clients, hey, let my hindsight be your foresight.
Ain't that the truth?
Because I have been there, done that. I destroyed my hip with an ego-driven lift that I shouldn't have been doing, that I did to set a record, and I was in a fight with a dude in the back, and we were arguing, and I had blown my quad at the Arnold 6 months before this competition. And I was just about rehabbed. I hadn't done a squat or a deadlift. I go to the Northeast Regionals to break the American bench press record. And this young man started talking crap to me. Oh, man, you're done, da-da-da. The champ is done. He's hurt. He's this, he's that. He can't
Jealous.
squat anymore. But I let him get under my skin.
Lesson
I-
learned.
I did. And you know what I did? I went out and I squatted 315 as a token because I knew I'd outbench him by 100 pounds, and I did. I broke the American record. Then the deadlift. The bar hits the floor. This kid is deadlifting close to 500. I hadn't done a deadlift in 6 months. My ego lunatic, I put in 135 for my opener. Then you, if you pull your opening attempt, you get the record. I bounced my opener up to 405. I was like, I just want to see.
Whoa.
So I pulled 405, it was easy. So then I pulled 500, it was easier. And then I figured out if I pull 575 or more, I'm going to beat this kid because he was a national champ himself.
Yeah.
So I put 590 on the bar because it was an American deadlift record held by a friend of mine. So I was like, yes. So I pull it up. If you look on YouTube, Joe McAuliffe Raw, the Raws, you'll see me, the click, click, boom song. And I'm breaking the record.
Click, boom.
Yes, I'm breaking the record and I break it. And at the very top, I feel ding, ding, ding. I felt my labrum go, and it just blew up.
What year was that?
That was 2010.
So what kind of mental state did that injury put you in? Because you're a guy who likes to stay active.
Well,
I've
I
seen your
held the
videos.
rehab. I did rehab 9 years. He told me 2 years
Damn.
after that I would need a hip replacement. And I was like, no
So
way,
what
because
the
I had
hell
already had all
happened?
that powerlifting under me.
So what the hell
so many
happened
years.
when Mighty Mouse was sitting on the couch? Like, where the hell did your mind go during that? I mean, you
How's
can't
it
get around.
dark? I mean, you
It
go
was
for
for
You
walks
see
after
the picture
lunch.
that I
Yeah.
sent you when
Yeah.
I was 218?
Oh, that was after the fact. That was
That
after
was
the
when
surgery.
I gained the weight. I
Okay.
couldn't walk anymore, and I ate my feelings.
Did you have a lot of mental bullshit going on back then?
Absolutely.
You
Plus,
were in a pretty rough spot.
Plus, I had just lost my father, and my first big gym had gone bankrupt. Then I
God
blew
bless.
the hip out.
Oh, God bless.
man.
So
Got hit with so many
Bro,
lefts.
you
You were
got
begging
like
for
a
a
perfect
ride.
fucking
and I was sharing
storm.
custody of my Aiden with
Aw.
his mom, who, her and I, bottom line, we were in court 17 times. That's all I'm going to tell you.
God
Okay,
bless.
she's a very, very nice girl. We have amended a lot of fences, and we're good. But the reality is it was tough.
It was probably tough for her to date Ego Joe back then, too, a little
course.
bit. You
Of
might have
course.
been...
We never got
you know,
married.
yeah.
Fortunately, my wife came in and saved the day because I was a single dad for 5 years, and that was
God bless.
that was tough. But the reality is, there are no tough men. There's just tough times,
Yep.
and tough times don't last. Tough people last. So you have to get through it. And I gained a lot of weight, but you know what? My bench was going up, so I didn't care. So I
Yeah.
got bigger, 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 bigger.
I bet.
And I didn't care. And I was winning titles in the 220 weight class, but I couldn't walk a mile anymore.
I'm sure.
That last summer before I got the hip replacement, I couldn't even go down the beach, and I love going in the ocean.
Yeah.
So it was 10 years before I needed the hip replacement.
Damn.
And it's funny, the best thing an orthopedic surgeon told me to do after my hip replacement, he says, oh, you got to stop squatting and deadlifting. And I was like, oh, thank you, because that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to do the competitives. So I stopped doing competitive squats and deadlifts. Now I just do therapy, double body weight. That's it. No more 4 times weight, because I got my squat up to 755 at
That's
one point.
insane.
But the bench came after all my, the recent titles. I got shoulder reconstruction after a car accident in 2012. And again, the doctor said, you better stop benching competitively. A couple world titles and the Hall of Fame later, that was good advice. He told me that I can't do something. So
Well,
I don't,
probably
think you, I don't
push
think
you.
you took that well.
No, well, Ego Joe. Why
You
would
probably
Ego
went
Joe
right to
take
it.
that well? We're getting back to
But
work.
what it did is it made me smarter. Pain and suffering and rehab made me seek out better and better resources for rehab information and developing my holistic health program now.
Awesome.
And like the kids are benefiting from that.
Everybody around you is.
Yes, and the fact that even though I'm still training all these savages, and we can talk about why Tanner Hodgins didn't just show up on the Shore Conference, this has been something in the making, is that why all of these competitive kids that tend, it's not just wrestling and football. I have softball, lacrosse, baseball. I've got badasses from all over the Shore Conference that, you know what? They're healthy kids.
Yep.
They're not in the doctor's office very often. They're not getting surgeries very often.
Right.
When you look at the real successful kids, I can promise you that they have a great support system and that at least one of their parents, at least one, is healthy, they take care of themselves, or both of them. If you look at Quentin Nelson, argued to say first ballot Hall of Fame offensive lineman from RBC, both his parents were college athletes.
Yep.
Kenny Pickett from the Steelers, I just talked to him this morning. Both parents, college athletes. The Hodgins, both college athletes, that they handed their kids off to me,
Right.
and they get it. They know that having a mentor and a coach that's not just going to teach them how to bench press, that's going to teach them how to take care of their bodies and sharpen it like a knife.
Yep.
And it's this finely tuned machine when you're eating right and getting to sleep and deep breathing. And these kids are like ahead of their time.
Yeah.
When you think about what I see at the snack stand that these kids are eating.
Oh,
don't get me involved with their.
Forget it.
Don't get me going about our snack stand. I'm not
Those
in
kids-
agreement with selling Skittles, baby.
Those kids are ahead of the
They get
curve,
hooked up.
but those are a very small percentage of the kids overall.
Very
the kids
small
overall are
percentage.
getting the Skittles.
Yes.
You know, my son, he loves the sugar and whatnot, and
Yeah.
he's literally thrown up, like, to the point that we're like, dude, you can't have slushies anymore. You can't have Skittles anymore. Like, he had to learn the hard way.
Well, did
but
he
it's
have
like
some
you
stomach
can't.
problems from it too?
Yeah, like literally throwing up. And we're
No,
like,
but like
what's-
he had like digestive and
it was more just throwing up.
oh, I thought there was more to it.
We diagnosed that. We're like, okay, you just threw up the rainbow that you see on the commercials.
Yeah.
Taste the rainbow. How's it taste in the toilet bowl? Or out.
Thank
you know?
God
At least
we
you were paying
got.
attention.
We toned it back. We toned it back big time.
Thank God, because Connor used to be a peanut butter and honey or like a Cliff Bar or some type of. He never got into cereal, thank God.
Okay.
But when we got him off of that and got him onto nitrate-free, grass-fed bacon, pasture-raised egg, and now he's into sourdough toast. I can do that. It's unbelievable how much better he's doing in school.
I'm sure.
That steady blood sugar energy throughout the day rather than that big sugar and
Yep.
then the wham and
Oh,
then
you
it
give a
goes
kid a
down.
Pop-Tart for breakfast. Now
Yes.
he's going into school. Of course he's not paying attention.
Right, and
Of
it's
course he-
easier for the parents just to do this. It's not easy to have to go through a lot of this, and there's a lot of hemming and hawing because a lot of the kids are addicted to sugar. Read
Yeah.
the book Salt, Sugar, and Fat. Read it, absorb it. Look at it. It's a New York Times bestseller, about 10 years old, and it'll teach you how the big food companies have addicted us to carbohydrates
Makes sense.
and fats and salt with their chemists, and they have figured out how to make it look appealing and put
Oh,
it in
yeah.
the packages that the kids love the colors and it's the sugar, and boom, they get a blast
Yeah.
of whatever the drug is, and it's like on an MRI it looks like cocaine is
sure.
going through their brain.
I'm sure.
So understanding that big food is not for health, big food is for profit.
Yep.
Health, again, is more expensive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
But so is
I
that
learned
medical
that,
bill.
yeah.
Which one are you willing to pay?
that's true.
The medical bill is
That's a good
way
point.
higher than you paying a
Yeah.
few more bucks for some
No,
quality
you're
stuff.
not wrong.
You know?
And
Yes.
I get it.
And that's just really unfortunate to me.
Yes.
And why are guys like you in like the rarity? Why are all the numbers just following whatever big pharma's saying? And
People
we've
are
had some
lazy.
conversations about things like this where, these human beings can just become repeat customers. And it's just business at the end of the day.
I'm not going to say what hospital, but I just heard a very progressive doctor who's an orthopedic surgeon got released from a hospital because he was too good. He was getting his patients in and out in a day.
Doing his job
They
too well.
wanted them to stay for 2 days because that's $20,000
Yeah.
of billables.
Yep.
It's a business. So
is.
for me, it's about be your self-care advocate
Yeah, I like that a lot.
rather than a sick care patient.
Yep. 100%.
Sick care patient is very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And then the plethora of drugs. I mean, I have clients that are on every single thing from the sleep drug to the statin to the blood pressure drug to the metformin and then the sex drug that helps that. It's unbelievable the amount of chemicals that are just being prescribed over and over. Like you say, repeat customers. Look at the pictures of the beach when I was a kid
Yeah.
versus now.
Oh, forget it. Night and
We're
day.
40% out of shape. Here's what I don't like. I don't like using the word obese because I have friends who are caught in a hamster wheel who are not lazy, who get up and go to work every day, but they are caught in the hamster wheel of those drugs make you not have energy and not want to go to the gym. And you want to have your sugar. You want to have your bagel every morning. And it is a very, very difficult thing to jump off. You look at my wedding party, half of my wedding party, but I've got friends that struggle.
Yeah,
That
same.
struggle with their health. And are they bad guys? No way.
Not at all.
I have lots of friends that are fantastic, high character people that can't get out of the hamster wheel of poor health.
Yeah, and then you're kind of adding stress into that same hamster wheel, lack of sleep into that same hamster wheel, and it just continues
Yeah.
to go
It's a
and go
cycle.
and go.
But now, do you think with proper nutrition and your program, let's say, people get off some medications and obviously can improve their long-term prognosis?
I was on a blood pressure, a dose of a blood pressure medication for almost 10 years during that time with my hip, go figure, and a car accident, right? So I am now on a quarter of the dosage. Good. I've been weaning myself down. Good. Some days I don't need it. I don't take it. Because of the biofeedback and the meditation, and I'm again being leaner and doing the cardio. Yeah. But I have seen quite a few of my people, like metformin, for example, the blood sugar. If my blood sugar is up, because I test it in the morning, I just go for a run.
Nice.
Do some sit-ups, do some push-ups, and
that's a great thing about being so educated on all this stuff.
Drops down. Then why would I want to take a pill for it? So I think that if you have the right strategy, that a lot of these pills ultimately are unnecessary. I had a physician for years trying to get me on. I've had about a 220, 230 cholesterol for 25 years, but I've had a calcium score. If you have history of family heart disease, get yourself a calcium score. They can see the inside of your arteries, right? My calcium score was awesome. Right, I got very, very clean arteries, a very good, almost a teenage-like score. Good. But my doctor kept trying to put me on statins because my cholesterol was 220, between 220 and 230. He kept doing, and he kept saying, look at me. You know, he was 160 pounds soaking wet, never lifted a weight in his life. He was slim and trim, and he was like, look at me. He says, I've been on statin for 20 years. Do you know that he had to retire early because of quadruple bypass? He had 2 quadruple bypasses, and he was on statins for 20 years. If statins worked, why are we still so high with heart disease?
It's getting back to the business element of everything. Yep. You know, there was probably someone coming in there, and there was some incentive for him to.
I don't think we're going to have any medical sponsors on here.
I'm all right with that, though.
We're looking for any.
Listen, my father takes probably 18 pills a day.
Yeah.
Now, he's all fucked up. He had a major stroke.
My dad, too?
He's got some issues. He definitely needs some levels of medication. All the medication? Probably not. But we have a friend, Scott, used to be a pharmaceutical salesman. And I didn't know this. Years ago, like the pharmaceutical company would go in and give you a gift card or send your family on vacation. Now that's illegal. But today, the pharmaceutical company still looks at the doctor that's prescribing as their client.
Right. Yes.
Not the patient that's receiving it. So what does that say? If they're looking at the doctor as the client, not the patient who is supposed to benefit, where's the motive? No. It's just in getting them to push the pill.
Well, the motive for us is to continue to get educated.
Oh, absolutely.
To learn from somebody like Joe, to learn from everybody that we talk to, and also kind of take some things with a grain of salt. Yeah. You have to be able to shake your head and say,
necessary.
okay.
I finally found a good one.
Good.
And he listens to me.
Good.
And you have to be able to get with a physician that will listen to your concerns. And I'm like, you know what, doc, I'm gonna roll the dice on the cholesterol because I don't want Alzheimer's, because you shut your cholesterol down, your brain is your brain cells are made from cholesterol.
Right.
So you shut that down, and again, I see what Alzheimer's. I'd rather have any of the other diseases than Alzheimer's. My mom died of it.
God bless.
No way. Not me.
I know that's something that's in my future with my father, especially. He's got a hit of Alzheimer's setting on, and it's not pretty.
How old is he?
67.
Enjoy every minute.
Yeah.
And if he forgets stuff, just laugh it off.
Yeah.
And
forgetting
enjoy
stuff
the time.
Isn't the issue. It's just tough watching him.
Of course.
I remember him. He would drive me to school every day because he believed sleep was the most important thing. And when I was a freshman in high school, going to Red Bank Catholic, I had to wake up 5:30, 5 o'clock, get to the bus stop 5:30, 5:45, get on the bus, go to St. Leo's. So after the first half of the year, he started driving me. So he would drive me, would pick me up. And that was like our time together. So he was like always my biggest supporter. And now I see him and like, I look at him and I know I have all his risk factors. And I know where life's going.
You have the genetics. I have the genes too. And you don't want the genes to express themselves.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you could fight the genes a little bit, right?
Of course.
Well, that's why I took
lifestyle.
the journey that I started taking for self-improvement, self-care, and I might not be great and I might not be eating perfect or I'm having those Ritz crackers, but drastically different than where I was 8-9 months ago.
Every day's an opportunity to get better.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Every day.
For sure.
You got to grow. You got to grow and you got to evolve. And I don't know. I mean, I see people that I know and you know that are stuck in the same rhythm and same routine. Like, I'm 38. I don't want to be doing the same stuff I was doing at 29.
Right.
Now I want to reinvent myself. I want to be able to roll around on the wrestling mat with my kids, go coach football. I see this guy. He's an animal. He does everything. He keeps up with every kid there is.
Backflips and stuff.
I want to, I'll never be Pete, but I'd like
I'll
to be
never
able to
you,
make sure.
and that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
totally
still trying
different.
to find the best Pete on the daily.
Yes.
You're doing a good job of
That's
that.
the way it should be.
That's the example that I want, or that I'm striving for, is to be able to roll around and have the same energy with my kids that he does.
Yep. I'm fortunate that my sons both love powerlifting. So some guys go fishing with their kids or camping.
Yeah.
We're meatheads. We
Yeah.
like to lift heavy things.
You know, it's funny.
So-
That reminds me, they're doing these things with the rebels for the wrestlers, and one of the hobbies is one of the questions they would ask, like favorite pizza topping, all these different things. The last one is always favorite hobby. And this one kid, Tony Laredo, put the same answer that I would have put, which is working out.
Yeah.
That's my hobby. That's what I like to do. My kids like to do it with me. My
Yep.
kids now are interested in the cold plunge. My son Mason's only 8 years old. He wants to go for runs with me. They do push-ups with me. That's just what we do.
Yeah.
We're just about that life. I don't even know another hobby I have, honestly.
The cold plunge. Are we done? We're good. Here's what I learned. I've done extensive research practically on myself. When I was in my fat shredding, I was down to 174 a few months ago, and I got my body fat below 15. I was regularly using the cold plunge. The cold plunge is fantastic for feeling good, and it's great for your metabolism for shredding. However, it will halt maximal strength gains.
You said that.
Yeah, if you want, like for me, a few months back, I had to go, oh, wait a minute. I have to kind of taper that back. Because years ago, I remember when Quentin Nelson was getting recruited by Notre Dame, the strength coach told me on his visit, and we were talking, he says, coach, he says, these cold plunges, our numbers are no good since I put them in. The kids feel great, but they're maximal strength, because when you lift weights heavy, there's a natural adaptation process that occurs. You have this micro trauma, you get stiff, you get sore. The best way to train is active recovery, is to do what? Is to work out again, but you work out lighter, you work out different, you do some cardio, you do some stretching, make sure your eating is right, because too much cold plunging will shut off any inflammation that you have. So what I like to do is I cycle it in. Whereas a cold shower, 10 to 30, I go up to a minute. Whew, it just feels great, but it's not that full body submersion. It's not gonna get a systemic inflammation shunt. Because I was over at Rock Sports where Tanner goes, and this dude's got it down to, I think, 34 degrees. I mean, like it's so cold, it's painful.
That's how it was for me today.
But then I would go into the hot tub, which felt good, then back in the cold, and then I would go in the infrared sauna, which is wonderfully healthy. I want it to be a part of my life forever. But at some point, I had to give up feeling good. To be a power lifter. I got to embrace the suck a little bit. So if I want to get stronger.
Right not living the power lifter life? Do you think I'm all right with this addiction I have to 3 minutes a day?
Absolutely,
Okay.
Pete. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
I've been addicted to worse.
Well, as long as you can still outbench your kid. Once your kid can outbench you, you might want to rethink
I'm going to tweak some shit down, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that never happens.
I watched you bench 2 weeks ago. You were fine.
Can you do 225?
Yeah.
Can you do 225?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so the three of us can do 225. That means we're stronger. There's only about 50,000 people on Earth, they say.
I actually saw this stat the other day. It's like less than 1% of the people in the world can bench press 225.
You take it for granted because you're in a gym. But look how many people are not in the gym.
Yeah.
They can't even do a push-up.
You're
It's
only seeing a small
crazy.
percentage.
It's very small percentage.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I also saw that, I forgot the number, it was like 90-something% of people will never run a sprint after high school. That day that I saw that, I was running sprints down my block. I'm like,
Dude,
hey,
that's why I love my skill
Not
mill.
me.
I love my skill mill.
Yeah.
Because it protects me from hurting myself.
Yeah.
Because I still got wheels. I can still go, but
Sure.
I have to be careful with the hip and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If I pull something, I set myself back in training.
Yep.
So I can be my most kind of courageous once nationals is over, and if I make the world team, I have like 6 weeks where I can mess myself.
All right, please
up.
get that stuff on video for
Yes.
us because we would love to see it. And I always follow your videos. I've learned so
Well,
much
I showed
from you.
my speed. Did you see my running on the skill mill? I got up to 14
I
miles an
did.
hour.
I did.
That's impressive,
You were
man.
cooking.
Yep. I can
That's-
still jump too. Jumping, well, if you take a regular athletic workout, I can tell you this. We squat or deadlift, we push, we pull, we carry or do the sled. Then for athletics, we jump, we throw, we sprint. Jumping, throwing, and sprinting for your average adult can be dangerous. So that has to be tempered.
Right.
You don't want to hurt yourself.
Tempered, but no, you're not average.
But those are athletic wonders.
Yep.
If you could do all of that in one gym workout, you'd be amazed if you just did that 3 days a week. I like the full body system. Splits and me don't work as well as just train it, and then the next day is cardio and yoga and meditation, and then train lift,
I like it.
cardio yoga. So it's a 6-day system that I use.
I like it.
It works.
Well, Joe, I think we're out of time here, man. We got so much, dude. I can't wait to
I'd
rewatch
like to
this
bring
and
you
learn
back.
from it.
Anytime.
Yeah.
A lot of value.
Yeah, we got to have some follow-up conversations with Joe and, even kind of get him some opportunities to get in front of some more people
Yeah.
because everything that he's got, this world is longing for right now.
Maybe we could
so.
do a feature up at his gym,
That'd be
do a
awesome.
program over there.
I
You
think we
wanna
should go
bring-
work out with him.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And bring the kids.
Yeah.
I got wrestling
love
mats
that.
now. You saw?
I saw that.
You commented.
Oh, that would be
Yes,
awesome.
Yes.
We got to make a trip up.
It's
I'm
a
down.
wrestling dojo. It's not a gym.
Yep.
There you go.
It really is a dojo.
It's a great facility too, man. You're doing an amazing job. Keep up the awesome work.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
Very happy to be here.
Good
Thank
stuff,
you, brother.
buddy.
Thanks for
you.
coming in.
My
Appreciate
pleasure. Take my
Let's
number,
go,
brother.
baby.
Take my number down.
Oh, yeah. Guys, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. You're struggling with something, reach out. Get in our inbox. Click the links, like, share. We appreciate all the views, all the support, and all the love you guys have shown us.
And
Thank
to
you.
everyone who's previously reached out for help, we thank you so much. We're so proud of you. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. He's got 6 days, no alcohol. He talked to me. We had a real open conversation. I didn't judge him. I basically let him know that most of society wants you to drink and wake up with anxiety the next day. And I'm here to tell you that that's for the birds. So if anybody's struggling, please reach out to us. We would love to facilitate some help for you.
Thanks for the love, guys.
Awesome. Awesome.